The Transformers Studio Series Rise of the Beasts figures continue, and today, I'm not gonna lie, I think we have the best one yet, out of the ones that I have so far, of course, and that is Studio Series Rise of the Beasts Airazor. On today's deceptibot9 reviews, let's get into it. How's it going, everyone? deceptibot9 here, and thank you, as always, for joining me here on the channel. Now, before we get too far into the review, I'd like to ask, if you like what you see, go ahead, leave me a like. Plus, if you like what you see and you want to stay tuned for all of the future content that I've got planned, go ahead, subscribe as well. It does really, truly mean a lot to me. Plus, if you want to follow me anywhere on the internet, you can find me on Twitter at deceptibot9, on TikTok at deceptibot9, and on Instagram at deceptibot9 reviews. All right, here we go. Let's go ahead and deep dive into a closer look at Studio Series Airazor. All right, and I will start just like the other Rise of the Beast figures I've reviewed on my channel so far. Take a quick look at the packaging, only because it gives us kind of our best look at Airazor in the movie. Although all the art that we are getting on here is just her in her bird mode, still, it's a better look than the quick 1 second look. Maybe it wasn't even a second look that we got in the trailer. So, enough of that, and let's focus on her. Here is a quick 360 look at Airazor all around in her robot mode. And guys, she looks great. I am loving this figure. At first, even though I do love the Kingdom figure, I was a little hesitant on the fact that they were just reusing the Kingdom Airazor schematics, just because I wanted something new and something different. But I have to say, I think using the Kingdom mold has actually worked in this figure's favor a lot, because this thing is really, really incredible. It takes what was already really great about the Kingdom mold and really enhances it a whole lot. And what turns out to be, I think this is the better version of that mold. So with all of those quick notes off the top there, let's go ahead and get a closer look at some of the details on Airazor. All right, we come up here on the head sculpt and we can see it just looks absolutely tremendous. It is fairly reminiscent of her original head, but still retains something a little bit new, and I absolutely love it. From the spikes here on the back to the nice little extra gold paint here on the front, and the silver, of course, and those nice green eyes. Looks really, really good. I just love the way that that turned out. Moving down to some of those, like the shoulder pads here and part of the chest, you can see a lot of her organic pieces hanging out there. So we got nice feathers molded into the shoulder pads and the little chest part. Here is obviously the bird head, which we'll get a closer look at when it transforms into the bird mode. But there's some nice like gold paint here or there. Coming down to the arms, a little bit of molded detail on the hands, feather detail, robotic details coming in here, some parts of the arms as well. And the missiles, of course, here on the side, painted in a nice gold. Coming around, of course, to the back and the sides, you can see here are her wings and her, tail fin and stuff just hanging out. So you can see a lot of bird detail going on here, which, it looks really great. Honestly, I really like the way the wings fold up and look. I love the way this looks. The blue feathers here. Oh, I love this paint job on these wings, even on both sides. I just think that's a really, really nice touch. Moving down to the crotch and the legs, there's a nice gold paint, some nice silver paint here with some feather molded details. Silver on the kneecaps, coming down more feathers here molded on the inside, which are really, really nice. And some nice big silver feet with, of course, claws on the other side. And those look really, really cool as well. So overall, her sculpt work and her deco is really, really cool. And if this is actually what her robot mode is going to look like in the movie, I will not be disappointed, because this is awesome. I think this is a great way to update and modernize the original look while still keeping a lot of the features from the original design, while adapting it very well into a live action version. All right, so some more features on Airazor here. Accessories to note are she only gets the missile pods, which I don't mind, of course, because if that's all she's going to use in the movie, then that's all she's going to have. It would have been cool. I don't know how the scene of her from the trailer breathing fire is going to play into the movie. Would have been cool to get some fire, but I think for the amount of detail and paintwork we get on her, she's very well worth it as it is. So let's go ahead and cover articulation on her really fast. So the head is on a ball joint. It's on a ball joint in there. You can't really get it to tilt, but it can swivel, not all the way around, but it will swivel up fully to the sides if you get it over the lip of her bird head piece there. Arms on ball joints as well, go all the way around. They go up that far. They swivel here at the bicep, single joint on the bicep, but it gets it going about 90, so it's still good range. No wrist swivel, but there is a wrist hinge just thanks to transformation. Now, her bird head is pegged in here, but if you unpeg it a little bit, you can get some waist rotation. If you peg it in, it's just kind of locked because of the way the beak falls in right there. But if you unlock it, you can get a little bit of swivel action going on there in the hips. Legs go forward. They go really well forward. Backwards, not as much, but still a good amount. They split all the way across, which we love to see. She won't be able to hold it because her wings are too big when she splits, but that's okay. Legs swivel here at the upper thigh. They bend at the knee with incredible range, partially thanks to transformation, but you can get some really great knee bend poses out of that there. They go at the ankle. This is mostly due to transformation because it's a transformation joint. Ankle can go kind of click out forward if you need her to be in kind of like some sort of crouch stance or something. Not really intended for robot mode, but you certainly could use it. And these feet are on a ball joint, so you can get them pivoting around all sorts of crazy directions and swiveling all the way around if you need to. So she is very, very poseable, and you can get her in a wide variety of poses. I threw up some pictures on my Instagram the other day when I got her, if you want to go check out some more of that. Now, before we get her transformed up into bird mode, let's see how she looks with a couple fellow bots, shall we? First up, here she is with her Kingdom counterpart. And again, I mean, you can really see how they use a lot of similar design cues, but this one is just a much more updated, modern version of the character, which I really, really love. One thing I also didn't realize until I got Studio Series Airazor in hand was how much bigger she was going to be than Kingdom Airazor. I think when the first pictures of this Airazor came out, we all thought she was going to be straight just a retool of the Kingdom, but she's not. She's actually, you know, a little bit bigger. There's a lot of different reused parts. I don't think there's any similar of the same parts. Just because she's kind of upscaled a little bit. So it's just the transformation scheme that gets reused here. But again, I think it works really, really well. I think the bigger feet are definitely very helpful with posing and balancing and all that jazz. I do wish maybe the rockets were a little bit bigger, like how they're a little bit bigger on the Kingdom version, but what are you gonna do? I think this version is much better than this one. All right, and here's Airazor with her Rise of the Beast Maximal buddy Cheetor, and I think these two look really cool together. I'm loving the Beast Wars guys being on screen, on the big screen, and I cannot wait to see how the figure of Optimus Primal turns out to have a super cool bunch of live action Maximals. All right, let's go ahead and get Airazor transformed up into her bird mode. It is exactly the same as the Kingdom transformation, but I have never showcased that on my channel, so let's go ahead and transform her here. All right, and here is Airazor transformed up into her bird mode, and I think she looks great. I am really, really happy with how she turned out overall. Again, I've always really liked the bird mode of the Kingdom Airazor figure, and I just think that with the making it a little bit bigger, making the feet a little bit bigger, overall it's a much better figure in my opinion because of what they've done with it. So let's go ahead and take a closer look at some of the details that are newly exposed here on the bird mode. So we can come up here, we can get a better look at her bird head now. We can see she's got a nice little green eye there, beautifully painted silver beak with some sort of robotic feathery details on kind of the neck portion of the head. Of course, the mouth can open up a little bit. We'll talk about that more in a second. It doesn't stay up all the time, but that's totally fine. Moving down here, a lot of what's down here is what we saw in the robot mode. That's all kind of the robot mode side. But if we go to the back, we can see the wings and the tail feather pieces a little bit better. Overall, again, it looks really, really nice. I like, all the sculpted molded detail that's going on with the wings here. Again, I just love this blue tip here as well. I wish they could have carried, if anything, for bird mode, I wish the blue could have been carried all the way down. I don't know if that's going to be representative of the bird in the movie or not, but still, overall, wings are really, really great. Tail feather details here look really, really nice as well. Plus, there's more of that nice little sort of bluish turquoise that I like. And the legs are just kind of squatted down. But we can see now there's a better purpose for these little feather details that were on the side of the legs in robot mode. They help just give her a little bit more feathery details. So there she is as a bird. I just really, really enjoy overall this bird mode and this figure as a whole. So let's go ahead and talk about articulation on the bird mode because it's pretty solid overall. So the head here is on a swivel, so you can swivel the head all the way around, and it's on a neck joint, so you can make it bend all the way down like that, whether she's going to try to capture prey or whatever she does as a bird. The mouth, as we saw, does open as well, so she can be screaming, shooting fire, doing whatever Airazor does. The wings here have a good amount in them. So they have one main hinge right here to make them go all the way up. They do also have a hinge, kind of a double hinge right here to make it bend down a little bit. That's part of the folding in process for robot mode. Then they have a bend here at the tip right here, so you can really get it folding all kinds of ways. And of course, just due to transformation, if you want to pivot those parts of the wings in to make it a little bit smaller, you can certainly do that as well. So wings, very posable. Legs still have all their articulation except they're locked in place here. So the knees can swing out that far. They can bend at this little ankle joint, and on the ankle ball joint, they can tilt all the way around. So you can get her in some pretty decent poses. Again, on my Instagram, there's robot mode pictures and bird mode pictures if you want to see some more of that. So let's see how she looks with her fellow bots. All right, first off, here she is with Kingdom. It's hard to fit them both in the shot because of their big wingspans. But again, I was always a fan of this bird mode, but I did have a few problems with I don't know if it's looseness is the right word, but just with how small the legs and the feet are, sometimes she wouldn't stand up if you gave her a little bit of a push, right? So not a lot of support down there on the bottom, but I mean, overall, I did always really like this bird mode. But again, I just feel like with what they've done with the Kingdom one, or not the Kingdom one, with the Studio Series one, it's just overall a lot better. She's bigger, she stands a little bit better, the wings have about the same amount of articulation in them, but, even though there's two different sets, and you can really see here the size comparison between the two, just how much bigger Studio Series Airazor is. I think that helps out a lot. All right, and here's our live action Maximals in Studio Series so far together in their beast modes. I'm digging it. I am really, really digging it. The one thing I do wish about having Airazor, though, is she's got a lot more like organic detail molded in all over the place around her, and this is partially naturally probably by the designs as well. I wish Cheetor had a little bit more of that. I showed off in my review of him that he does have like some hair details here, some, on the back of the arms, but I wish there was more organic detail on Cheetor, especially after seeing how they did it on Airazor. All right, that is going to do it for my closer look at Studio Series Rise of the Beast Airazor. So let's go ahead and fly on back up to me for my final thoughts. So what are my final thoughts on Studio Series Airazor here? Well, guys, if you couldn't tell throughout the review, I think she's really, really splendid. She's my third Rise of the Beast Studio Series figure so far. She's easily my favorite out of the three. I do have Battletrap and Freezer on the way. Bumblebee also shortly behind is inevitable as well. But Airazor is just absolutely tremendous. I think it's a great reuse of the Kingdom mold. making her a little bit bigger, giving her some more detail, and her design overall in the movie helps reflect that as well. But there's a lot of good stuff going on with Studio Series Airazor. And I think if you liked Kingdom Airazor, you also, like me, might like Studio Series Airazor a lot more. Alright guys, that is going to do it for my review of Transformers Studio Series Rise of the Beasts Airazor. Go ahead, if you have this figure, let me know your thoughts down below. If you don't have her yet, also let me know your thoughts down below. Let's talk all things Studio Series Airazor down in the comments. Guys, as always, I have to say thank you very much for sticking all the way to the end. I very much appreciate it. It does mean a lot to me. Plus, little announcement, I will be at TFCon. If you guys are going to be at TFCon as well, go ahead. If you see me, feel free to go ahead and stop by, say hello. It's going to be a blast. I am super excited. It's my first one ever. So, with that out of the way as well, guys, thank you for watching all the way to the very end. I do really, truly appreciate it. Once again, can never say that enough to you guys. I have been your host, deceptibot9. Thank you, as always, for joining me, and I'll see you guys later.